Hello, this slideshow I've called The Great Surrender. It's a sad tale of how our council has handed over complete control to the bureaucracy, and in the process we the people have really lost democracy. It has been a great failing of our council that they were not able to prevent this happening. So let's get on with the slides and I'll talk you through this great disaster. So this then is the Great Surrender. We see council here kowtowing to the CAO, who has become the king of a very large and powerful bureaucracy. And what that follows is this: democracy is beheaded by bureaucracy. We are enemies with bureaucracy, and it's a very sad fact that Greece, where democracy was born, was one of the first European countries to be beheaded by bureaucracy. And we have another one happening right now in Nicaragua. Now, this is written by Kim Kwang-Woon, a professor emeritus, a deep thinker on these issues. And he says, one of the biggest illusions is the belief that bureaucrats are there to serve the public. Now that is absolutely hilarious. Bureaucrats are there to serve themselves and to solve difficult problems. Well, on the other hand, they actually make difficult problems. Bureaucrats are people who establish standardized regulations, and the city of Kawartha Lakes is full of them. They go to pages and pages and pages, and then they focus only on the goal that they have set for themselves. For example, the spy drones that will be coming overhead to see that we don't have our grass cut and things like that, or the northwest trunk. Now, every time a problem emerges, the government finds a justification for creating a second and third department. Here again, we have a classic example in the city of Kawartha Lakes. After taking over all the other municipalities, they discovered they had a large number of assets: bridges, roads, parks, recreation centres, and they therefore needed somebody to look after them. But those assets were originally looked after by the people who lived there, the reeve and the councillors and the staff. They drove those roads, they went over those bridges, they visited those parks, they took their kids to the recreation centres, so they knew what the condition is, just in the same way that you know when your car needs some more gas. So this is what bureaucracy does. So let's see on the next slide here. We have an actual definition of bureaucracy: the concentration of decision making in top-down management structure. Here again, it's exactly what we have in the city of Kawartha Lakes. We have the CAO at the top, and then we have a horde of directors, and then under those managers and sub-managers, and down at the bottom of the management structure are our friends who actually do some work for us. The worst thing is the employees themselves aren't empowered. If they have a new idea, it gets squashed. Instead, the ideas must run up the flagpole, right up to the CAO. And then, in order to get things happening, the senior leaders must be influenced. They must be brought on side. In other words, they must be persuaded to go along with it. And then, it only takes one manager who says he doesn't like it, and they say, "Oh, you don't like it? Well, let's all go back and have another think about this." And they love that, because now they can spend another year and spend lots of our money in rethinking the thing all over again. And this can go on and on and on, and we see it in the newspapers every day. So, how did they do it? They passed a bylaw which actually has a code of conduct. And they use the word members, and members means members of council, so it's the mayor and councillors. And in this is this incredible statement. Members, acknowledge that only council as a whole shall direct staff members. That means that the mayor can't tell anybody to do anything, nor can the councillors. If they want something done, they must convene a council meeting and make a motion and pass that motion, and only then will, through the CAO, carry out that task. This is absolutely incredible. Another part of that code of conduct, they must be respectful that staff carry out directions of council. Here again, they emphasise that it's a council, all 16 members sitting down, making a bylaw, not the mayor or the councillors, and administer the policies of the municipality through the CAO. It all goes down through the CAO funnel. It is nobody else can actually implement the policies, and they are required to do so without any undue influence. So if you think that they're working on some particular project and you say, well, why are you doing that? Would you mind looking at this little bit of it? No, no, no. You're not allowed to do that. The mayor and the councillors must remain silent. And we go on further. Look at this. No member shall direct or interfere with the performance of any work being carried on by an employee of the city. So, a councillor is driving home, goes in a big pothole, the crew is standing there, supposed to be repairing the pothole, and he says something like, well, you guys, I think you should put a bit more stuff in that pothole. He's not allowed to say that. He would have to go in, get a resolution of council, and he'd have to say, councillors, I fell into a big pothole and I want a report to see what's going on. Will you support me in a resolution? That's the only way that a member of council can actually get anything done. But even if he gets that far, even if it goes from the council, what happens then? The report will be made by the CAO. So again, he has full authority. And this is how the CAO establishes staff loyalty. Because they're loyal, because they are under his thumb. Here we go again. Members will recognise and respect that notwithstanding their position, and their position is an elected representative of the people, their rights to certain information may also be limited and restricted. In that case, they've got to check with one of our employees, the city clerk, or another one of our employees, the CAO, to see if that's okay. So we have this weird position that the staff have information which they can share with each other, but it can't be shared with councillors. So why does staff collect this information? It's all backwards. Now we have this other problem. Task forces are really good things. You can create a task force to look into all sorts of issues, and one of its great virtues is that it can use people who live around there and have some expertise. But the weakness is here. They can't do anything. They can't direct department staff. So this is an example. A task force that is created to look at Canal Street development in Bob Caton. They cannot make the staff do anything. So the people can sit around and they can discuss the problems. They can't get the staff to produce plans, cost estimates, business plans, etc. This is madness. Because a task force is an excellent way of getting the wisdom of the people involved in decision making. But we can't correct and make those task force. We have no information. Another part of the bylaw, the Chief Administrative Officer is exercising general control. Let's stop just there. Not particular control, general control. That's control over everything and the management of everything. And why is he doing this? To ensure the effective operation of the municipality. His job is to run the city as a corporation. not as a democratic institution. He has no prescribed duties to the citizens. He does not have to be nice to us or kind to us. He can run over us in his hobnail boots in order to make the corporation better. We don't want a corporation. We want a democratic institution. Now, at the end of this bylaw with the code of conduct for these people, there is this thing here, and it's just part of it, and it has to be signed and witnessed by the city clerk. This is kind of like an oath. I will act in a matter that enhances the image. Let's just stop there. Enhances the image. That means to polish it up, to make it look what it is not, of the council and the corporation. So that is the first thing that they have to promise to do. So this means that any nasty stuff, they have to suppress. They can't tell the truth. They can't point out the errors. They can't even point out the way those errors should be corrected. Further, I will ensure that I will not use my position to influence, intimidate, or threaten others. Well, I don't think that the councillors are intimidating anybody. I think on the whole they are being intimidated. Down here, I will honour the need for confidentiality and ensure that the confidential information to which I will be privy, etc., etc., shall remain confidential and not be made public during and or following my terms of office. No whistleblowers allowed here. This is the gag oath. Is it true? Yes, it is. I know an ex-councillor, and he said this is absolutely true. The things that he learnt while he was on council and would like to speak about, he dare not do for fear of breaking this particular oath. So you see, the truth and honesty is suppressed all the way through this document in order to make the corporation look good. Now, I will ensure that my communications are consistent, open, honest, and transparent. Here is another word that we choke on. The opacity of the city of Kawartha Lakes is about the same as a block of black coal. And the best interest of the corporation, make sure the corporation is looked after, and the community. But the best interest of the community and the best interest of the corporation are almost always opposite. But they go through this, they agree to this, and then they sign it. That is appalling. So what is the situation? Frankly, it is that the council is powerless. It is powerless to help us. It is powerless to preserve democracy. It is instituted a bureaucratic power process which will be the end of us all. So, the genie is out of the bottle. Here he is, the bureaucratic genie whistling in the wind. And we're trying to catch him. And we want your help to pop him back in that bottle, and when we got him in that bottle, we are going to bury him in a deep, dark place. So help the citizens for direct democracy. Put him back, and the way to do that is to vote for us at the forthcoming elections, and we promise you a new face will be put on democracy in the city of Kawartha Lakes. Thank you very much. So that is the situation, and in the next few months I and my colleagues in the Citizens for Direct Democracy will be travelling around Victoria County, and we will be explaining our platform for changing this situation radically and dramatically to help democracy live in this area. So we really hope that you will come and listen to us, ask us questions, let us explain our position. But please come out, because there are so many people feeding at the bureaucratic trough that they are in considerable numbers, and this may be our last chance to outnumber them in the polls. Thank you very much.